In the dense wilderness of the Pacific Northwest, where the trees stood tall and the mist lingered, there was a secret. A secret so old and so profound that only the oldest trees whispered about it. And in this forest, where time itself seemed to slow down, there was a creature, Bigfoot. It was a full moon night. The silver light from the moon bathed the forest, turning it into a dreamscape. Shadows played tricks on the eyes, but amidst those ever-shifting patterns, one shadow was distinct, and it moved with a purpose. Bigfoot, with his deep brown fur matted in places, treaded softly, almost silently. Each step was deliberate, each pause filled with intent. He moved through the forest, not as an intruder, but as a part of it. Every so often, he would stop, raise his broad, muscular nose in the air, and sniff, his deep-set eyes scanning the vicinity. On this particular night, he was on a quest. Earlier in the evening, while he had been resting near a creek, a sharp and unfamiliar scent had wafted towards him. It was not a scent of danger, but it was new, different, and it had intrigued him. He had decided to track it down. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the underbrush became thick, making his journey slightly more challenging. But he was used to it, having traversed these paths for more years than he could remember. The large prints his feet left behind were the only evidence of his passage. Hours seemed to melt away as he pursued the scent. It led him to a clearing where the trees gave way to a serene lake. The water's surface was so still that it mirrored the sky, making it look like a portal to another world. At the edge of the lake, a sight caught Bigfoot's attention. There, bathed in the moonlight, stood a creature, not unlike himself, but different in subtle ways. Its fur was a shade lighter, and its eyes, a piercing blue, were fixed on the reflection in the water. It looked peaceful, lost in its own world. Bigfoot watched from the cover of the trees, curiosity bubbling inside him. He had always believed he was the last of his kind, having not seen another like him for what felt like ages. The very thought that there could be another, perhaps many more, brought a mix of joy and wonder. Taking a deep breath to steady his nerves, he stepped into the clearing, his feet barely making a sound on the soft, damp earth. The creature by the lake, sensing his presence, turned around, its blue eyes meeting Bigfoot's. Time seemed to stand still. There, in the middle of the untouched wilderness, two ancient beings stood, looking at each other, communicating without words. The connection was immediate and deep. The new creature, with a grace that spoke of ages of living in the wild, approached Bigfoot. They stood close, sniffing and inspecting each other, a dance as old as time itself. Suddenly, a distant howl broke the stillness of the night. The sound was neither threatening nor alarming, but it signaled something. The creature, with a final, lingering look at Bigfoot, turned and disappeared into the forest. Bigfoot, left alone in the clearing, felt a pang of sadness. But the brief encounter had awakened something in him. A hope, a possibility that he wasn't alone. That there were others out there, just as elusive, just as mysterious. With newfound determination, he decided to seek them out, to find the connections he had been missing, and to unlock the stories of his kind that had remained untold for so long. With the lake behind him and the moon high up in the sky, Bigfoot ventured deeper into the unknown, following the path of the silent shadows. The days turned into weeks as Bigfoot continued his journey. The forest changed around him, showing its many moods. At times, it was a gentle friend with soft sunbeams filtering through the leaves. At other times, fierce rains would pour down, as if trying to cleanse the forest of its secrets. But through it all, Bigfoot moved forward, driven by the memories of that moonlit night and the blue-eyed creature. His path took him through valleys and over mountain ridges. Along the way, he encountered various beings of the wild, a pack of wolves, a wandering bear, and even a curious bobcat. They would give him a wide berth, sensing his ancient aura, acknowledging him as one of the forest's oldest inhabitants. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, Bigfoot stumbled upon a sight that left him awestruck. Nestled between two towering peaks was a valley, untouched by time. It was a sanctuary of green, with tall trees, flowing streams, and meadows dotted with wildflowers. But what caught Bigfoot's attention the most was the presence of others like him. They were scattered around the valley, some lounging near the streams, some playfully wrestling, and some just sitting and soaking in the beauty of their hidden home. With hesitant steps, he made his way into the valley. As he did, heads turned, and curious eyes fixed upon him. The valley's inhabitants seemed to recognize something in him, something familiar, yet different. It was then that he saw her, the blue-eyed creature from that night by the lake. She was near a cluster of berry bushes, her fingers delicately picking the ripest ones. Their eyes met, and once again, time seemed to freeze. She approached him, and the rest of the valley's inhabitants watched with bated breath. They circled each other, sniffing and nodding, acknowledging their previous encounter. With a gentle nudge, she led him to a shaded spot under a tree, where they both sat down. The valley's other Bigfoot creatures began to gather around, forming a circle. There was an air of anticipation. It became evident that this was a moment of significance. An elder, distinguished by his graying fur and wise eyes, stepped forward. In a series of deep, resonant hums and gestures, he communicated with the newcomer. It was a language older than words, a language of the earth. Through this exchange, Bigfoot learned about the valley's history. It was a haven for their kind, a place where they had lived for generations, hidden from the world. The valley had its own rhythms, its own rules, and its own stories. He also learned about the blue-eyed creature. Her name was Lila, and she had ventured out of the valley that night to explore, just as he had done countless times in the past. Their meeting had not been mere chance, it had been destiny. As night fell, a celebration began. The valley echoed with deep, harmonious hums, rhythmic thumping of feet, and a dance that told tales of old. It was a welcome, not just for Bigfoot, but also a reconnection of their kind. Surrounded by his newfound family, Bigfoot felt a warmth and belonging he hadn't felt in a long time. The memories of his solitary existence seemed distant now. The valley, with its ancient trees and the gentle murmur of streams, was home. Yet, as the celebrations continued, and the stars twinkled overhead, a question lingered in his heart. If this valley had remained hidden for so long, what else lay beyond, waiting to be discovered? That night, as Bigfoot lay under the vast canopy of stars, with Lila by his side, he dreamt of new horizons, of uncovering the mysteries of their world, and of writing new chapters in the history of their kind. Morning broke with a golden hue, casting a radiant glow over the hidden valley. The inhabitants started their daily routines, some tending to the young, others foraging, and some simply enjoying the tranquility of their sanctuary. Bigfoot and Lila stood at the edge of a cliff, looking out at the vast expanse beyond. There was a world out there, full of mysteries and echoes of the past, and both felt the urge to explore. Lila, with her adventurous spirit, shared tales of the places she had been to and the wonders she had seen. Whispered legends spoke of another realm, where creatures even more ancient than them resided, hidden within caverns deep below the earth. These tales had always intrigued Lila, and now, she saw the same curiosity in Bigfoot's eyes. With the blessings of the valley's elder and the promise to return, the duo embarked on their quest. They journeyed through dense forests, crossed gushing rivers, and climbed treacherous peaks. Along the way, they discovered traces of their kind's legacy, ancient markings on rocks, remnants of settlements, and paths only their kind would recognize. After weeks of exploration, they stumbled upon a series of caves at the base of a colossal mountain. The entrance was covered in moss and vines, but what caught their attention were the intricate symbols carved on the stones, symbols that mirrored those in the hidden valley. Venturing inside, they were met with a labyrinth of tunnels. The air was thick with an ancient aura, and every echo seemed to tell a story. As they delved deeper, the caves opened up to reveal vast chambers filled with shimmering crystals. The walls resonated with harmonious hums, almost as if the very earth was singing. It was in the heart of this underground realm that they made a breathtaking discovery. Encased within a crystalline chamber was a pool of luminescent water. Floating above it, like ethereal guardians, were beings of pure energy. Their forms constantly shifted, and they emitted a gentle glow, illuminating the chamber. Lila and Bigfoot approached cautiously. As they neared the pool, the beings converged, forming a collective consciousness. The air vibrated with energy, and a voice, soft yet commanding, resonated in their minds. "Welcome, children of the forest. We are the echoes, the keepers of history and memories." The echoes spoke of times long past, of the world's creation, and of their kind's genesis. They spoke of eras when Bigfoot creatures roamed freely, shaping the land and living in harmony with nature. Over time, as the world changed, their kind had sought refuge, preserving their culture and heritage in sanctuaries like the Hidden Valley. Bigfoot and Lila listened, captivated. They learned of other sanctuaries, of challenges faced by their kind, and of the interconnected web of life that tied all creatures together. The echoes imparted a responsibility onto them, to be the custodians of this knowledge, to ensure that the tales of their kind lived on, and to bridge the gap between the ancient and the new. With heavy hearts and minds brimming with newfound wisdom, the duo bid farewell to the echoes and made their way back to the surface. The world seemed different now, not just a place to exist, but a land filled with stories, waiting to be told. Upon their return to the hidden valley, a grand gathering was held. Bigfoot and Lila shared their discoveries, and the valley echoed with tales of old and visions of the future. They established a tradition, a chronicle of echoes, where every generation would venture out, explore, and bring back tales to be shared. The legacy of Bigfoot was not just about existence but about preserving the rich tapestry of their history and ensuring that their echoes would resonate for eternity. In the heart of the Pacific Northwest, amidst the dense forests and hidden valleys, the tales of Bigfoot and their kind continue to thrive, whispered by the winds and sung by the streams.